I don't know how many of you remember the movie Whiplash. Well, if you've not watched it, it's a story about a drummer who goes to one of the best music schools only to find himself in the class of an emotionally and physically abusive teacher. That is a topic all on its own. But there is a very famous scene in the movie where he gets himself a jug of ice water, puts it down next to his kit, ready to submerge his hand into when his hands start to hurt. No pain, no gain, right? We need to talk. Now, of course, this is a movie and it's quite an extreme scene, but I think today we're going to discover that there is a little bit of Neiman in all of us. Because how often do we push our bodies to the limit? We ignore that little niggling pain. Sometimes we even play through it, push through it, or we forget to take care of our bodies while we practice. And guys, I know that this topic is not very popular. In fact, it's my least popular videos on this channel. And this is part of a bigger problem that I think we especially need to talk about. Because here's the thing. Statistics have shown that upward of 80% of musicians will develop a playing-related problem. Playing-related problem, fancy word for pain, numbness, tingling, or other symptoms that result from playing your instrument. And here's kind of the insane thing about this. It usually inhibits your ability to play your instrument. So there you are, practicing frantically, pushing yourself to the limits, only at the end of the day to realize that you actually can't play your instrument so well because you've pushed yourself too hard. And I think this comes from the fact that we don't understand that our instrument is actually first and foremost our body. Without our bodies, we cannot play our instruments. You have many days to practice. You can always buy a new instrument, but you will never be able to replace your body. And before some of you amateur musicians are like, well, I'm not a professional musician, this doesn't include me, a study done on a group of amateur musicians showed that 67% of them also had a playing-related problem. So if you're an adult, perhaps a little bit older, and you're spending a lot of time practicing, you really need to listen up. Because here's the scary thing. There are musicians that have actually had to stop playing eventually because the symptoms became so bad. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you because there is actually a lot of hope, and this is the reason why we should talk about this. In the sports world, it's common knowledge. Anybody doing professional sports knows that their bodies are so important and they do absolutely everything to take really good care of it. Yet in the music world, developing any kind of pain is very often associated with being weak or somehow not good enough. Professional musicians especially fear for their livelihoods. There's a huge sense of shame around this, and there are some harrowing stories of musicians who are sneaking in through back entrances just to get physiotherapy appointments. Some musicians even want to deny this completely. And if I have to be honest, I think we all kind of want to deny this, or we brush it aside and pretend it's not a problem until it is. But there is hope, because many of these injuries are completely preventable. So here are some really great things that you can do to help prevent pain and injury while playing your instrument. First of all, take practice breaks. Do not try to play for several hours at a time without taking good regular breaks between practice. My personal favorite method, it's called the Pomodoro method, 20 to 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. After about an hour, hour and a half, you can take a little bit of a longer break before you get back into your practicing. I even advise for students who've got the time, have a nice practice session in the morning and then again later in the day. This is a purely physiological thing. Our muscles and tendons just need time to recover, and rest is just genuinely the best way to do this. Number 2, do not over practice. Do not try and practice 5, 6, 7 hours a day. Maybe even 3 hours is just too much. Honestly, if you are practicing because you're trying to fill up a certain number of hours that you feel you should be practicing, you're probably kind of missing the point, because it shouldn't be a question of how long you're practicing. It should be a question of how you are using that time. Limit yourself with your practicing. It's actually one of the best ways to make sure that you are being very efficient and smart with your practicing. I've dropped a link below. I've written a nice blog about my experiences when I got injured. Although this particular injury was not caused by my instrument, I have had pain from playing my instrument plenty of times, and I am not ashamed to say it. In that blog, I explain how having an injury was one of the best things that ever happened to me because it forced me to learn how to practice well. So stop over practicing. Number 3, work on your posture and your technique. We know that doing certain things with our bodies increase the chances of us developing pain and injuries. There are like hosts of professionals that are trained at helping you learn how to use your bodies better while playing an instrument. We've got Alexander technique teachers, we've got Feldenkrais teachers, we've got body mapping specialists. In fact, here at the Flute Practice, we work together with one of these specialists, and you can go and book a session with her through our site. Your biggest enemy is always excessive tension. So releasing excessive tension in your body, in your hands, in your embouchure is unbelievably important. Another really great way to prevent pain and injury is to physically warm up before you play, do some nice stretches between practice sessions, and warm down again after your practice. Studies have actually shown how effective this is in preventing pain. We have created a very short little 2-minute exercise routine that you can do, and I'm going to link you guys to that video. But we've also created a 7-day warm-up stretch journey. It's a really wonderful, gentle way to get your body ready for practice, and we've dropped some links to that course down below as well. We have created a healthy practice checklist. Get onto our email list and we will send this out to you. This is a lovely checklist. You can hang it up on your practice wall and make sure every day that you are practicing these healthy habits. If you already have got a problem, you've got pain, you're struggling, please know this, you are not alone. Like 80 to 90% of musicians have probably experienced this at some point in their lives. Perhaps you've had a niggling pain, perhaps you are not even able to play right now. I want you to know that there is help out there, and here's what you need to do. First, you need to stop playing until you get the right help. So just stop pushing, stop trying to practice. Then go and see a specialist, go see some kind of a doctor. Depending on where the pain is, you might want to start by going to go see your general practitioner, your physician, or your kind of house doctor first, and get referred to the right specialist. While professional musicians often feel a sense of fear and shame around this, amateur musicians, you often feel that you are not worth it, or that help is out there but just not for you. And this is absolutely not true. We have seen so many amateur musicians here at the Flute Practice find their way from pain back to playing. You are worth it, and there is help for you. Then you might want to connect with a movement specialist, whether it is an Alexander teacher or a body mapping specialist. Get in a session with somebody who can help you to learn how to use your body in a more ergonomic way and play with more ease and freedom. There's actually a huge benefit to this. You'll actually be able to play your instrument better. I also want to invite anybody who is currently struggling with pain to personally pop me an email. I am deeply, deeply passionate about this topic. This is a very difficult space to be in. I get it. I have been there, but I want you to remember you are not alone. I'm actually going to ask you guys to share this video. Share this video on your social media accounts. I think that this is something that we should speak about. We need to speak about. It's not something that we need to be ashamed about. And actually, by raising some awareness around this issue, we'd probably help a lot of musicians experience this less frequently. Happy practicing, and see you next time.